Alright, so this title is a working title. It's going to be something about leaving the Philippines and the drama that I had to go through to get back to the States. And here's what happened. I stayed for 90 days in the Philippines. The first 30 days were free. I paid 3,000 pesos to extend for another 30 days. Then when I went to extend again, I assumed, and that's the wrong thing I did, I assumed that I would pay another 3,000 pesos to extend one more time for another 30 days. If you don't know this, I'll let you know. When you do that, they give you no choice, but you have to get I forget the name of it, but it's a card, and it says tourist on it. It's like an America version of a green card, but it's for tourists, and it costs, I think it was like 6,000 pesos. You have no choice but to get it, and that was something unexpected. I had my money budgeted for what I thought was going to be another 3,000. Turns out to be double that. I went and did that, and so I was supposed to leave. Well, I did leave on the day after Christmas. Well, my visa expired on the 25th. So I went to the airport. I knew I was going to pay a fee. I had read online that it was like 1,050 pesos. I had the money for it. Went to the cashier, and they told me, it was going to cost 4,000 pesos. And I said, what? And then he did some calculating, and he says, it's 3,000 something. I'm like, well, I don't have the money for that, because I really budgeted my things down to I didn't give myself any leeway. Looking back, I should have. So when I asked the immigration officer, I said, well, what good is this card? It cost me over 6,000 pesos. He said, well, you can open up a bank account with it. That's it. The card is good for 1 year. I was under the impression that this is, basically a Visa card that foolishly I thought I could, I'm covered for 1 year. Wrong. But I was able to get money to pay for it. So that little stressful moment came and went. And I am grateful that I did go to the airport much earlier than my flight. Otherwise, I would have been more stressed and under pressure to come up with the money to get through immigration. And here's the part I don't like. I don't understand this. And I wish the Philippines changed their laws about this, but they won't. Which is this. The reason for the amount, the guy the immigration officer broke it down what each charge is for. And what I was paying for was an extended visa for another 30 days, which is dumb considering I'm at the airport leaving the country. I'm not staying for another 30 days. I personally think they should have a chart, if you will, how much each day you're overdue you have to pay. But that's not how they do it. They don't have common sense. So I paid for all that. Got on my plane, and I relaxed. Thought my troubles were over. I fly from Philippines to Tokyo, and then to Tokyo to Newark. When I got to Newark, I didn't realize until I was about to land that my flight was not until the next morning. I did not obviously pay attention to details. I thought with the time change and everything, because when you fly from the Philippines back to the States, you're flying back in time. So say you leave on the 26th in the Philippines, you arrive in the States on the 26th of December, same day basically. So I arrived. I realized I'm going to be there overnight. Well, I've never been to Newark, and I gotta admit, it was pretty nice inside the airport. Very It's a big airport, so as you'll find out later, how I found that out quite well. As you see in the pictures here, I took a couple pictures of Newark Airport. It was nicely set up. Plenty of tables and chairs and for you to connect your electric devices to plug in. So I was quite impressed with the Newark Airport when it comes to the airport itself. So I stayed up all night. I arrived like 4 something in the afternoon on the 26th. My flight was on the 27th. And I was fine. I was watching Netflix and stuff on my iPad and everything. Following morning, people arrived at the gate where the plane I was going to take from Newark down to Florida was. And I noticed there was a little bit of commotion going on at the gate. And the curiosity got the best of me. So I stopped watching what I was doing and I went over to see what was going on. And I looked up at the screen above the gate and it says my flight was canceled. So I looked at my phone because I'm looking at my app, my United Airlines app. It says everything's fine. So I'm like, this is weird. So I asked some other people and they started saying that, some said that they heard that it was canceled. And then a flight attendant showed up. She didn't know anything about it. So I'm like, okay. So I went with a few of us. We went and found United customer service desk. By the time I got to that desk, which was I think on the other wing of the airport, then I showed up on my app. My flight had been canceled. So, and this came about, I think, with about 1 hour to, I would say it's about an hour, maybe a half hour before we were supposed to board the plane that I found out about it. While standing in line, this married couple who told me that they had took a ride service to the airport and they found out 10 minutes prior to getting to the airport that the flight had been canceled. And that it said on the app, I believe it did, that the plane had been taken out of service due to a technical issue. Fine. But what we couldn't figure out is why they waited so late to let us know. Because the plane that we were getting on flew into Newark around midnight. So, and this is like 5 hours later, 5 or 6 hours later, that they canceled it. So they did not know they had an issue all that time. Really? So we stood in line for about 2 hours to get to our turn to talk to somebody at the desk. Also, while we were in line, and some of the other passengers called, and this one lady had it on the speakerphone, and the United rep said it was due to weather is why our flight was canceled. We all knew that was a full bull crap lie, because at that service desk there was a TV screen with the map of the United States with the weather. There wasn't a cloud in the sky on the East Coast, so we knew that wasn't true. But she was just given the standard answer that United likes to put out. They always like to blame the weather on everything. So when I got to my turn to talk to a rep at the service center, a group of us noticed that these two people, one was in a wheelchair, one was not, and the guy that works at the airport who was pushing the guy in the wheelchair, basically they showed up and they were waiting for the next person to open up, right? Well, it was my turn to talk. So as I started to walk up, these three just cut straight up in front of me. And I was like, what in the friggin' is going on? They ignored us. Two of them acted like they didn't know how to speak English. Well, one of them may not have, because they were having a hard time understanding the lady, and then I overheard them saying they were going to get a translator. I was more irritated with the guy that works for the airport, because he's the one that pushed them in front of me. It's like we had been standing there for 2 hours, and these three just show up. Only they waited 5 minutes before they came in, whatever, right? Some people were telling me that I should make a scene about it. Well, what's the point? They're going to call security and then I'm going to be in trouble, even though I was in the right. So I didn't make a scene. I definitely gave him the if looks could kill stares. I did do that. And when I finally got to be seen, the lady basically put me on the standby list. So she told me what gate to go to see if I can get on the plane. Well, I went to that gate, which was, of course, not on the same wing that I'm at right now. Oh no. I had to go. I think the Newark airport is set up like you got 3 wings, you know. Like I was over here, right? Like I was, like say I was just hypothetical. I was here. I had to leave here, go all the way over here to the next gate, in hope that I get on. Of course, I didn't get on. Then they said we had to wait till everybody boarded the plane and the plane left for them to tell us where the next gate is, where the next flight's going to be, and try our shot at that. So a group of us went to do that. And of course, it was again, same story, not the same wing. We had to go to another one. I think we went to like the middle one. And then when we got to that second one, there was this older lady who was causing a fuss. And at first I had sympathy for her. I really did. Because she had made it clear to everybody that could hear her that her flight had been canceled 2 times. So this was her 3rd time. No, I take that back. It was her 2nd time that it had been canceled. Well, she was, like I said, causing a scene, saying that she needed her medication and she had to get home, fly home, and all this stuff. So then we obviously did get on it. So we went to another gate. So when we got to the next gate, the same lady who was fussing about her flight being canceled, the next time she complained to the next gate, it wasn't 2 times that her flight got canceled. This was her 3rd time. And then we went to another gate. She showed up there and she was saying this was her 4th time. It's just like it kept changing. And she would be sitting there crying or act like she was crying. I say act because as soon as she thought they were going to help her, she set her emotion just on a dime. Just changed from acting like she's crying, you know, like to what, you know. It's just like, oh, come on, lady, you know. By that time, I won't speak for everybody else, but for myself, I was tired of it. I went from being sympathetic to, are you really exaggerating? Because I met somebody else that was in the same spot she was, that her flight had been canceled 2 days in a row, I think is what it was. And yet, this lady that I was speaking with didn't cause a fuss. This other one, oh my God, she was yelling and everything. I was surprised they didn't call the airport security on her. And I noticed when I got to the other gate that on the screen they have a list of names for standbys. Well, my name's not on there. And I'm a little puzzled why that is. So I went to the lady at the desk and she said, well, maybe you did something, I don't know, something to my ticket or something. I said, I didn't do anything. Well, she was great in that she put me on the list. Great. I was at number 12 on the list. Okay. Get to another gate. And same story. We didn't get on. And then I saw that my position on the waiting list or standby list had gone from 12 to 15. It's like, huh? So basically, this was like this all friggin' day. Fortunately, one of the times we got to the gate, the lady at the desk was very helpful in that she moved me and the married couple that I had spoken about earlier up on the list. And then when we got to the next gate, both them and myself, we moved down 3 positions. Whatever. I don't understand how that thing all works out. So I got to the second. We went to the second to last flight of the day, and the married couple was able to finally get on the plane. And it looked like I was about to get on the flight too. But then at the last moment, because there was basically 3 spots open, so the married couple, they were ahead of me on the list, so they go first. And I was about to get on. I'm like, yes, all right, finally, my misery is finally over. Well, the guy that had a ticket for that flight showed up at the last moment. So I got bumped off. I'm like, So I went to the last possible flight of the night. By this time, I think it was around, I forget, I think around 8 or 9 o'clock at night. And the lady at this gate was an angel. She did some research and she saw that I've been traveling for 2 days. Because remember, I flew back in time. And she saw where I was flying from. And I don't know what the heck she did, but she got it that I got a ticket to get on the plane to fly back to Florida. Still wasn't sure it was true. Even when I was sitting down and I had the seatbelt on, still wasn't sure. Then, once that plane took off, I was like, all right, great. So I finally flew into Florida, where I wanted to be in the first place. But because of arriving so late at night, the person I had planned to pick me up couldn't get me. And I said, that's fine. Get me in the morning. I'm just happy I'm not in Newark anymore. I'm back in Florida. So that's what happened. Eventually, the next morning, I got picked up. So that was my adventure to coming back to the Philippines, coming from the Philippines back to the States. Though I was not. One other quick thing. I just remember this. When I got the money, and I went back to that immigration officer, he tried to tell me it was 4,000 something pesos. I jumped on him so fast. I said, "No, dude, no. You told me it was 3,300 pesos or something like that." And then he's like, oh yeah. I'm like, what the? This dude trying to make some extra money on the side? I'm like, what the hell, you know? Oh, also, when I was in Newark, it was cold. I mean, really cold, and I was inside the friggin' airport. As you've seen, you probably have seen already in some pictures I'm posting here, I was wearing a hat inside the airport. Even when I got to Florida, it was still kind of cold. I was wearing a hat. Now I was in the Philippines for 3 months, so I was used to warm weather. And it just happened to be that this was a cold season, or extremely cold weather was going on in the States, even for Florida. My luck, right? In any case, there's more to the story, not so much about the traveling, but something separately that happened after I got back. But to say the least, I wish I never left the Philippines. It was so much simpler. I didn't have as many problems as I have now. But the whole drama of leaving there was crazy. Like I said, I love the Filipino people. I just think that the Philippine government needs to change their policies when it comes to paying for late fee or paying for being stayed. It makes no sense to charge somebody another 30 days when they're the ones leaving. You're leaving the friggin' country. What is another 30 days gonna do for me? Nothing. But they make money. And I suppose they figure they can charge more for justifying it for another 30 days than just whatever, how many days overstayed you are. That's just my guess. But I think common sense would have been that they would do it the way I suggested. We're dealing with governments. No matter what country you are, governments don't have common sense. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoy this. I'm just venting. It's been about a week or so since this happened, but every time I think about what has happened and how I got here, the more stress I get. So I'm just venting. I hope you guys take care. Really. All right. You all take care. Bye.